Superman and Lois for a long time now has been up for debate as to whether or not the show is part of the Arrowverse, mainly due to the lack of connections to the wider universe. For example, Kara Danvers, aka Supergirl, hasn't been either seen or even mentioned at all throughout the show's duration, which is very strange considering Supergirl is Superman's cousin, so you would think that Clark would at least mention her a few times throughout the show, but no, not a single peep. On the other hand, in Season 1, we had John Diggle from Arrow make an appearance, and he even referenced Oliver and the things that happened during the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover event, leading many to believe that the show is in fact canon to the larger Arrowverse, but it's just in its own little corner. We even had Diggle make another appearance in Season 2, further making that connection between the show and the wider Arrowverse. We were also actually meant to get a crossover between The Flash and Superman and Lois, but due to COVID restrictions, crossovers during the pandemic era were impossible, so it never happened. Furthermore, we got an Arrowverse crossover comic event which is canon to the live action shows, and one of the tie-ins was an issue from Superman and Lois, further adding to the idea that the show is part of the Arrowverse as we all assumed. However, the finale came to us this week of Superman and Lois Season 2, and many fans left the episode with utter shock and disappointment when a line in the finale basically said that Superman is the only hero on Earth, meaning that there are no other heroes at all on that Earth. And obviously, if Superman and Lois was part of the Arrowverse, then this statement would be factually incorrect, considering we have an abundance of superheroes on Earth Prime, meaning the only other possible explanation to this is that this was the show's way of telling us, the audience, that this show is not in the Arrowverse, or at least on Earth Prime, which in my opinion is a big letdown and a massive mistake, because by doing this, they're burning bridges on possible crossovers with characters like The Flash, which is something fans have been wanting to see for a while now, a crossover between Grant Gustin's Flash and Tyler Hoechlin's Superman. We did have it in Crisis, but there's so much potential for them to do more. But what about the Diggle appearances on Superman and Lois? Well, the Superman and Lois showrunner has actually come out and say, and I quote, "This is also a new Diggle. David Ramsey had grown a beard and grew his hair out. He called me and said, 'I've been growing my hair. I look different. Do you want me to shave and get a haircut?' So not to add more confusion to it, but he's a different Diggle." End quote. So there you have it. This is official confirmation that Superman and Lois is not part of the Earth Prime in the Arrowverse. But also, if the show isn't in Earth Prime Arrowverse, then what about the Superman and Lois Earth Prime crossover tie-in comic? Well, to answer this, all you have to do is simply look at Stargirl, who isn't part of the Arrowverse Earth Prime, but instead her own show takes place in the Earth 2 multiverse, so it can be easily explained that the tie-in comic for Superman and Lois was on a different Earth like Stargirl. But I guess the question now is, why this drastic change? Why separate yourself from the larger Arrowverse? The only reason I can think of as to why they would do this is because of Supergirl. Supergirl used a lot of Superman's characters, such as Lex Luthor, so perhaps the show wants to use some of these characters that Supergirl has already used without the baggage and the history that comes with those characters established on Supergirl. My assumption is that they want to do their own thing with these characters, and that's probably why they're distancing themselves from the larger Arrowverse, which it does make sense, but it's still disappointing. The only bright side to this is that even though Superman and Lois isn't on Earth Prime, it definitely still is part of the Arrowverse multiverse, meaning that if they want to do another multiversal crossover event like Crisis on Infinite Earths, then Superman and Lois can cross over with the Earth Prime Arrowverse characters, and even if it's not the Superman and Lois version that crosses over, there's still a Superman on Earth Prime anyway, so it's probably a safe bet that they would end up going with the Earth Prime version of Superman for any future crossovers, but we just have to wait and see what they do with that character. But what do you guys think? Are you okay with the retcon that Superman and Lois isn't part of the Earth Prime Arrowverse, or would you rather it be that they were part of the main Arrowverse proper? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. If you like this video, give this video a big thumbs up, share this video with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you guys later in the next video.